And like, we're not trying to say that you should turn Hums into job training in any way. I think the beauty of this program is that it's not job training, to be honest, like that you get 4 years where you're just learning and reading and exploring ideas. That's something that I miss, honestly, since having left it. But that being said, I think that there are things that you do get, skills that you're acquiring here that honestly I just didn't even know that I had when I left. And it wasn't until I was in a workplace getting a chance to exercise those skills that I realized that, oh, I am a good writer. I mean, you're surrounded by writers that are all probably pretty good. Like, if you're in this program and you've gotten through it, then you've come out a pretty good writer. And again, because all your peers are also, articulate, good thinkers, good readers and writers, you think that that's just kind of par for the course. Those are things that start to set you apart when you are in a workplace. An ability to read dense text and articulate its, like to distill it and reconstruct the argument to somebody. And to Doug's question, like this is kind of what you do as a project manager. It's like working with different stakeholders on something that a business or an organization is trying to accomplish. Being able to negotiate trade-offs between two different, competing interests that people have. How can you
arguing both sides to understand the
exactly. Arguing both sides, being able to consider that two things could be true at the same time. Again, reconstructing an argument for somebody else and summarizing it really quickly. Understanding value and where you think value is, right? Like if you have to direct, a couple $1 million budget, for example, that, government wants to do something, what should you direct the money towards? It should be something that's valuable. And again, these are things that I didn't even realize were skills that this program gave me.
So how did I even get into a film festival? I didn't study film. I am not a filmmaker. Here's what I did have. I loved storytelling. Humanities equipped me with a foundational appreciation of also international storytelling, right? Not just the Western canon of stories. I understood religious texts and backgrounds and cultural nuances and mythology and symbol. And in the interview, they were like, "What drew you to the job? Like you're not a journalism student, you're not an English student, you're not a film student. Why did you apply?" And I said all the things I just said to you today. I was like, I love storytelling. I love visual media. I think it's really important that we are exposed to international storytelling to become more empathetic citizens of the world. So that's sort of what led me to them. TIFF is an amazing employer for just sharing emerging and established films. And I found the route into that building that I could most easily translate in terms of my skills, which is I'm a good communicator, I like copy editing, I like reading and researching, and if I don't have the skills you're looking for, I promise I can learn them the way that Doug and Ian have very quickly. And I started to volunteer to learn how to do that work with a tiny indie opera company. They wanted someone to like tweet, use Twitter. Turns out you seem to be really good at writing and really funny and know how to find great images or GIFs. So I pretended for the AGO that I did this full-time professionally on top of my job at TIFF. I was like, oh, I know how to run social media. You can see from this very small indie opera account. So when the AGO was posting a job for a community manager, head of social media, I showed them my portfolio and I said, yep, a lot of this is for one tiny startup indie opera company, but I promise you, I can run a full-scale institution's social media accounts. Just let me try and let me blow your socks off. Yeah. And I think I was the least qualified candidate they had in their interview pipeline. I think they were interviewing people who had done social media professionally for at least a couple of years, because again, it was very nascent. 2011 to 2014, wasn't a lot going on. But I was just telling them, like, I studied a program that really made me understand visual media and storytelling and the historical context behind the art. Not just being able to, use technical apps will help you when it comes to really explaining art online. So that's how I got the job, was like, I'm a really good liberal arts graduate. Like, trust me, you want me in charge of like the keys to the car. Someone else will blow it. They'll write something wrong, they'll misspell it, or they'll, worst of all, make like a cultural mistake when representing a piece of art.
Yes.
So the context that I was able to show them and like the research that I do before creating, engaging posts, I think, is what got me the job. And then I persuaded them to keep me on by just demonstrating my work. So
part of that realization, I think, that we've all had in sitting in like a professional setting in the room and realizing that just being in discussion room and discussing ideas every week based upon difficult readings that you have done have put you miles ahead of everyone else in that room who is hopefully like just trying to do their job.
Software, a lot of these jobs, they don't even exist yet, Like when we were graduating, that wasn't a job that I knew I would have in 4 or 5 years. Who knows what the job will be in a couple more years once you're all graduated too.
But they will need people who can put context around what they do technically to communicate that to everyone else in the world.
Yeah.
And everyone here in this room is capable of doing that fundamentally.
Yeah, you read very dense, complicated texts, and that is so skilled. It's amazing how skilled that is.
What about things like scoping requirements or coordination, things like that?
Yeah, that's good too.
Things that like any Hum student prepping for a paper would just be doing naturally and not realize that that transfers from a paper to a PowerPoint.
That's a good point. I mean, project management's basically about organizing work and understanding what work there is to be done. And so Doug's point, like what I might describe as like planning and organizing a paper now, like that's the language that I had when I was a graduate. Now I would describe that as like scoping requirements.
That's my essay workflow.
You can use
like defining workflow.
This event, even a little bit of like wondering what the benefits of this degree is in the professional career. Like we are here to explicitly say, you're awesome. It is literally your like the ace that you can play, not only in promoting yourself, but because of what you've learned here. And it took us years to figure that out. So we're trying to give it to you straight now. I have one keyword, and I think it's more reactive to the conversation around the college in terms of like what the business community is looking for, and or what the government is looking to finance in terms of skill development for young people, and that would be like STEM. I think where you want to be, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, I think where you want to be is pushing kind of the emergent conversation around STEAM, which actually includes arts into the consideration, because scaling companies in Canada and US and elsewhere are realizing that they've maybe over-indexed on very specific skill sets, and then the people that they need to manage those teams of engineers
who have soft skills.
Benefit entirely from the arts.
Me too.
Okay, and then we have one final thing, just underscore this message, because like sincerely, it's the reason why we're here. We're going to play like a 40-second video to just reinforce this.
Hey everyone, Harley here. I'm an entrepreneur and the president of Shopify. I want to quickly take a moment to reach out and encourage all of you to consider joining Shopify when you graduate or for our next intern cohort. I think oftentimes people assume that you need to be a developer or an engineer to work for a tech company. But I can tell you firsthand, there are so many roles here that require a very diverse range of skills. And I think entrepreneurship in itself requires critical thinkers, people that want to solve big problems, people that are resourceful. And many of those skills you acquire as an arts major can actually have a really big impact. So hope you're all having a great day, and thank you for letting me drop in here quickly. And I look forward to seeing you all apply. Have a great day.
Okay, so to reinforce that, that is the president of Canada's most valuable company who, when I made the request to just send a message to you, said yes within like 10 minutes to make this happen, which I think hopefully underscores like what he thought was important in the two requests I made. And again, to be like as explicit as possible, to not undervalue yourselves or the capabilities that you have.